In Squid Game, players earn a squid token for every hand they win. At the end of the round, players without a squid have to pay a penalty corresponding to the total number of squids in play. As with any new format, there is potential to make a lot of money. But to really crush these games for the maximum, there is one crucial adjustment that you have to make. In normal Hold'em, big bets have the effect of making your opponent's calling range very strong. So without a strong hand ourselves, we simply cannot afford to go so large. But in Squid Game, big bets will often get called by a much wider range. This allows us to bet much larger with hands that are only average in strength. To see why this is the case, we first have to understand the concept of minimum defense. Generally speaking, it is the threat of bluffing profitably that forces our opponent to pay off our value bets. For example, if we make a half-pot bet, our bluffs are getting 2:1 odds. So if our opponent wants to stop us from bluffing profitably, they need to call at least 2/3 of their range. Call any less, and our bluffs start to become plus EV. Likewise, if we make a pot size bet, our bluffs are getting 1:1 odds. So if our opponent wants to stop us from bluffing profitably, they need to call at least half of their range. In Squid Game, however, things are a little different. If our opponent only calls half the time against a pot size bet, we would still have a profitable bluff with all our air. This is because there is some value attached to winning the squid. Half the time we lose our bet, and half the time we take down the pot, plus whatever the squid is worth. So to prevent us from bluffing profitably, they actually have to call more than half the time. This is precisely why we need to be betting bigger in Squid Game. The threat of bluffing profitably forces our opponent to call wider, which in turn allows us to size up with every hand in our range. As for how much bigger we should bet, that's a far more complicated question. One that depends on the effective value of the squid. And when I say effective value, I don't just mean the 2 or 3 big blinds that you win per squid. The true worth of a squid is much more than that, because not winning the squid means potentially paying out a very large penalty. Calculating squid value is actually relatively straightforward if it's the last hand. All you do is take the outcome of winning the hand, subtracted by the outcome of losing. In this case, it works out to 9 times the squid penalty. So if each squid is worth 3 big blinds, then the effective value of the last squid would be 27 big blinds. But what if there are more hands to come? Now, the outcome of winning and losing are both unknown, since we don't know what will happen in future hands. Take the EV of losing, for example. It could be minus 24 big blinds if we don't manage to win any future hands, but it could also be plus 3 big blinds if we do. Or, if you're playing one of the progressive formats, it could be 6 or 9 big blinds if you manage to win more than 1 squid. Not to mention, each squid might double or triple in value if there are multiple players who have to pay the penalty. The point is, it gets really complicated really fast, and we're not going to go into that in this video. But if you need someone to run the math for you, feel free to reach out via my website. I have tools to calculate squid value at different stages of the game, and if you want, I'll even help you run custom preflop sims for your specific format. Squid Game might be a goldmine right now, but like any new format, it will get figured out eventually. So don't wait too long to start investing in your game.